Join Dr. Gerald Thompson, physician, specialist, and notable environmental conservationist, every Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m. here on WeFM 99.9. Your health matters. Ask Dr. Thompson any burning question you have related to health. Your health matters. Dr. Thompson will examine healthcare, highlight important environmental issues, and look at what's hot in science and technology and the next wave of emerging diseases and health trends. So this and every Wednesday, join us 8 to 9 p.m. here on BFM 99.9 because your health matters.
People's Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical, skin, and body care needs. Located on Grenville Street in Kingstown. They open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Call them today at 784-456-1170. People's Pharmacy also stock vitamins and supplements, personal care items, toiletries, children and adult pampers, and much, much more. And of course, get your prescriptions filled by a friendly and professional pharmacist. People's Pharmacy. Come in today and let us serve you.
Good evening to everyone. This is Dr. Gerald Thompson with Your Health Matters. And as usual, 8 p.m. every Wednesday evening, we are essentially in your living room, in your bedroom. We're in your space talking about health or technological matters. I've got a really fascinating show this evening because I am going to be talking a little about cannabis. We've had features before on this, but some good things have been happening in the medicinal cannabis space here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Let me just round them off a little bit. One, our lab, which is a very state-of-the-art lab, is expanding to offer testing far beyond testing for cannabis products and tests and so forth, to looking at doing pesticide levels in various foods, and checking for other toxins that may be in foods. So that's going to be available, in the market to make sure that products are imported same as and exported are really tested. We've been having Cannabis. Well, I'm expecting that Cannabis 2026 is going to be a very, very big event. And a lot of other good things are happening. Matter of fact, regionally, there's a meeting coming up to talk about interregional trade. 9 islands in the Caribbean would have now legalized for medicinal cannabis. And St. Vincent, has always been a proponent of interregional trade between the various islands. And so we're looking forward to that. But that's not what tonight is about. Tonight, I have a very interesting and important guest. His name is Vass Blackwood, the actor, and he is on the StreamYard from the UK, from London. He's been a native London man. Matter of fact, Vass, you apparently grew up in Camden, right? Well, yeah. I grew up in Islington, Highbury, and I used to go down to Hornsey swimming pool. And when I'm in England, I'm out at the Roundhouse. I'm at Regent. The sailing thing, the canal that's there. Yeah. And Camden Market is such a wonderful place. And so I worked at the Archway Hospital and so forth. So Camden and Islington are twinned together, and we have a very similar history. I went to England. You were born in England, but I went to England when I was about 4 years old, and I went to Gillespie School in down near Finsbury Park, and then what was it called? Highbury Grove Secondary School. I don't know if you remember that and so forth.
I know Highbury Grove. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I just thought that I would say it's very interested. Your Camden man. I don't know if you're still living in Camden, but I want to welcome you to Your Health Matters, and we really want to know a little more about you because we talk about Camden, but you have been a renowned actor, and in terms of the role you played in a number of films. Going through your itinerary, but you've been a real important actor, and that role you played as Rory Breaker in that film, that must have been a real experience. As an individual, tell us a little bit about yourself, rather than me going through your biography. Who is Vass Blackwood? Tell us a little, please.
Well, firstly, I'd like to send my evening greetings to everyone in SVG from myself. Wishing you all Godspeed and strength. I was born in London, actually in the borough of Camden, where I still live now. Yeah, and I was born Vasta Roy Blackwood. I say this because I'm junior to my father, who passed away actually on Boxing Day 2025. So,
oh my God. Yeah, our condolences, the condolences of the nation.
Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you very much. And my parents came over from Jamaica in 1959, and they bought a property in Kentish Town, which is, as you know, in Camden, the borough of Camden.
Yes.
And so I was raised in Camden, and I still live in Camden. And what you've just said to me, I can call you Dr. Gerald, or
you could just call me Gerald. You call me Gerald.
Yes. It's really actually that's made me laugh. Actually, that's amazing, because I'm not too sure if the listeners, some of them might know because they're not in London, but man, we're just like, it's a kindred spirit thing there, brother, because Islington is the borough next door, and you know, there was where I lived was very close to Islington, and the borough, actually, you could stand on put your foot on one side of the road, and then the other side, and you're in Camden.
I used to be down Seven Sisters Road and Holloway Road and all those other places, and I did quite a bit of my training over where you were both St. Pancras, University College Hospital, St. Pancras. You know, all those other things. I'm so familiar with them. There isn't a time I go to England I'm not in that region.
That's incredible. That's not great. Yeah. And then, you know, I lived in the borough of Camden, and I then got myself involved in acting. You know, I became a professional actor, fast forwarding the age of 18, and I've been an actor ever since. So I've been acting now for going on 40 odd years, you know. That's what I do for a living. And I've been very blessed. So yeah, man,
the film Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
That's right.
I mean, I saw this some time ago and so forth, and it was really profound. You played a character of I don't know how to call it. You know, you were. I wouldn't call it. In these parts, we call people drug lords and so forth. But you were a gangster. And basically, you basically, that scene where someone had stolen your cannabis, you know?
Yeah, they tried to sell it back to me.
They tried to sell it back to you.
Yeah, they stole my cannabis and they tried to sell it back to me. Yeah, man. So I have these kind of Etonian, very posh white boys that grow the cannabis for me.
Yes.
And and then these other guys, they run into a debt and they find out where the grow is. The secret grow, and they go and raid the grow and steal my cannabis, and then they want to come and sell the thing back to me. But it was, I must say, it was Guy Ritchie, the very iconic, great film director.
Yes.
It was his first film, so you know, it's gone down into folklore, as they say. So it's really a film that everybody remembers. It's the film that started Guy, and it's a film that I will forever be remembered for. So this is the kind of a little bit of a correlation with the cannabis, really.
Yes, yes. But since that time, you've done so many more. But from that particular thing, you know, I remember the scene, Mr. Bubble and Squeak, you may enlighten me, you know, the way you said that, you know. But you've come a long way. And now you essentially, at that time, was playing an actor. That was an act that was your acting. You have now graduated into that industry. I'm sure you still do acting and voiceovers and things like that and so forth, but you've now graduated. How did you make that transition from acting to brand cannabis and basically being able to produce it for medicinal purposes in London, England?
Yeah, I mean, so like I am I must say this as well. I'm a member of CARICOM. I'm a Jamaican citizen as well.
Yes.
So and why I say this is because I've been from a very young age, I've been traveling to the Caribbean. You know, I was very fortunate. My parents insisted, you know, they thought that was a very crucial thing in my development and my sister's development. So I've always been a strong advocate for marijuana. And with the whole cultural thing coming from Jamaican ancestry, it's something that I was aware of, and just from the smell and growing up, I think when I was I would say in my early teens in the UK, I partook in smoking cannabis as a youngster. So I was like a kind of a little bit of a ganja baby. My parents didn't really know, but I had my small group of friends, and to an extent, it kind of molded me into becoming what I am, an actor. There was you could say, because people talk about mood boards and dream boards, things that you think and they become reality. You know, you put your mood board up, certain things that you want to happen in your life. And I believe with cannabis, it enabled me back then to kind of vision what I wanted to be. Okay. And I found myself through my circle of friends. It's a very positive circle of friends, I would say, when I look back on it. And I found myself in a situation where I was at a pub theater, like a bar which had a theater, and you know, I was meeting certain people, and that was one of the main links with the acting. But I just getting back to the cannabis, so it was something that was very much a part of my life, young life. So when I became a professional actor from 18, and I just went straight into the theater, touring Europe, all over the place. And then from theater, what happens is directors and producers and actors come and watch you perform, as well as normal members of the public. And what happened was that a certain actor by the name of, I'm sure you might have heard of him, Sir Lenny Henry. He's a...
Sir Lenny Henry, yes, I know you connect with it. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, at the time he came to watch me perform in a theatre show, which was very near his house in London. And he was writing a new TV series for the BBC. And he really liked what I was doing. And then he offered me that role. And then from there, when I was doing the Lenny Henry shows, which ran for about 3 seasons, that's like 3 years or so. And it's very popular back then it was just terrestrial TV. There wasn't no, these sort of online platform TV channels. So a lot of viewers used to watch these shows, especially the BBC one. And Guy Ritchie he used to, when he came home from college, he used to watch me on the Lenny Henry show. So it just so happened that from the Lenny Henry show, Guy watching me in the Lenny watching me on stage, giving me a role on TV, and then Guy watching me on the Lenny Henry show, he casted me in Lock, Stock. So, and most actors do go from theatre, TV to films, and then from films to telly, back to theatre, and move it around. And, so I'm a well-schooled actor. I mean, I've done Shakespeare at the Royal Shakespeare Company, many different things. And I've also filmed in Jamaica, did films like One Love with Idris Elba and Kimani Marley, and Carl Bradshaw. Yeah, man, and just done documentaries in Jamaica. And, so I'm a versed actor when it comes to that side of things. So really, with the cannabis now, it was, I would say, there's a period in your life when you sort of, you have children and you're in that phase of your life. And I kind of slowed down, and the rat race of living in London and you just couldn't find. I couldn't find a meditation. I couldn't
Yes.
find a meditation. That'd be the best way to say. So I kind of ceased smoking cannabis, but was very much an advocate for cannabis. I would never ever, you know, whatever was going on around me with cannabis. If I say, I wouldn't say anything, but you know, I just wouldn't really be smoking it.
Yeah.
But I will say what happened during that period of me smoking and then stop smoking. I noticed that there was a lot of like, say, new strains of cannabis, because I came from the era when cannabis was smuggled. Like, and this is
Illegal
something I really,
cannabis.
yeah, I'm
Illegal.
really, yeah, man. When I'm really proud to say it, because this is my, this is how I knew about St. Vincent. In actual fact, so I knew when cannabis was smuggled. So when we used to go to our local dealers, you know, someone's house, wherever they were, they would say, "This is Colombian gold. This is Malawi cob. This is Thai stick. This is Temple Ball, and this is Jamaican Sensimilia. This is Jamaican Red Bear. This is St. Vincent high grade."
Really? They would talk
Yeah,
about
man,
it? Okay.
Yeah, and you know, the dealer would show you what is, and it had been smuggled into the country. That's how it used to be. And when you used to smoke this form of cannabis, those kind of, you know, Lebanese red, you know, it was like, wow, you know, it was like you knew it was like tasting different coffees or tasting different wines, you know. And this was my era of smoking. So, and we used to big up the smugglers, you know, because the smugglers were incredible people. And I'm sure there's people listening to this show now we're going to touch on the black market in a minute, but back then the smugglers. So there was that aspect of it. But then when I quit smoking, I noticed that I think it was maybe millennia and maybe a little bit
2000.
2000s up, yeah. There was all these different strains, and they were like people were growing them at home or homegrown, and they smelt skunk and they smelt a certain way, and the potency was very high. People were going for the high. Whereas back in the day, you know, the highs were a lot more subtle because these cannabis were grown under the sun. Like Malawi cob, Durban poison from South Africa, this, that, and the other, grown under the sun. So I was a strong advocate, always a strong advocate for cannabis being grown under the sun and then kind of like covered by the moon at night, the 12-hour cycle on either side, 12 hours sun, 12 hours moon. So I got to a point when I thought, you know, I knew that at some point in my life, I would go back to cannabis. But when my life was more, you know, I didn't have the strong responsibilities of having to watch a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or, you know, 14-year-old. You know, I just wanted to I would get back into it. And, you know, funnily enough, I used to say to myself, you know, maybe when I become a grand, you know, or something like that. And my daughter, who lives in, my oldest, who lives in New York, she just had a baby with her husband, and Tala's now 10, 11 months. And it's so strange because during, like, say, so over the past, say, 5 years, we've been traveling a lot to Bequia. My partner has a property in Bequia. And I started to see other parts of the Caribbean through my partner, you know, and that was an eye opener for me. And I really did enjoy that because, you know, obviously, you know, when you live in London, normally it's the case, if you're Jamaican, you fly to Jamaica. If you're Bajan, you fly to Barbados, St. Vincent, you know how it goes. But when I started to travel around the islands, different islands, I just really embraced the whole CARICOM thing. And then, you know, slowly but surely, we were talking about, like, because of the rules and the regulations with St. Vincent, and I was finding in my research, I was thinking to myself, this is incredible, you know, like we have dispensaries in the UK, but it's not recreational as such, you know. It's the restraints are a little bit like let's just say there's slight restrictions in the UK with on a recreational level, but people still smoke, obviously, but you can't go into a shop like in Amsterdam and buy your cannabis, and you're not looked after in that manner yet. So, I mean, fast forward, we're close friends with Kelly Glass.
Well, before you go into that, so before this, in the UK, you had set up a company there, your partnership and so forth, and you have a company that actually provides product that is medicinal cannabis to people in the UK. Am I correct?
No. So what happened was that since the film was obviously, Lock, Stock was 20 years ago.
Yes.
And I would say maybe the past 5 years or so, I've had people approaching me, businessmen approaching me regarding cannabis, and because of the character, Rory Breaker, and the whole thing. And I never really used to pay much attention to it because I just kind of just stuck with my acting, and I didn't really think that much of it. I wasn't taking it that seriously. And a couple of years ago or so, there were some people that talked to me about this, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? This sounds interesting, but maybe I should, before I go any further, I should have a chat with Guy Ritchie, because I can't really go forward with this unless I get his permission or his blessing. And, I reached out to Guy, and he gave me his blessing. He said, yeah, go for it. And also he said, thank you very much for asking me first, and him being such a very successful film director, successful businessman, because he has other businesses as well. And he does, how I know him, he kind of works very hard and he tries to do things the best way possible. Once he gave me his blessing, I felt as though there's no way I'm going to let him down. So whomever I jump into bed with as far as business is concerned, it has to be right. It has to be right. So the game was on, but it was on, and it kind of took, spiritually for me anyway, it took on a very different dimension once I got Guy's permission. So I did not go into business with the people that first triggered me, because I felt as though they weren't taking themselves very seriously. So we set up the business, and then I was in the Caribbean, in Bequia, and it just so happened that I'd just done an interview with a newspaper, big newspaper called the Sun newspaper, and they interviewed me whilst I was in Bequia. The article came out maybe just a week or so after, and I was in Bequia for about 3 months, and the article came out, and it was like, from Vass Blackwood, from actor, Lock, Stock, and these other roles, now he's becoming a cannabis dealer. And it was very funny. It was a really great interview. I could not have prayed for it. I don't know. It was just serendipity. It was wonderful. And I was down at the Plantation Inn one day, and I bumped into Kelly, who was a very good friend of ours. And I just said to him, I want to sell you cannabis. Like, it was like a scene out of Scarface. And he laughed. He said, I've got so much cannabis. And I said, I want to sell you cannabis. And we laughed. And that was it. And then Rory Breaker, medicinal. So it brought them together. And and then the realization really did, it began to inspire me, because I was thinking, the more I discussed it with Kelly, and then the more I would sit down and do my research, because I love reading books and I like to research. So I look into this thing, and it was the first thing that was ever here. It was a sacrament, and it's very deep. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I believe well, I know it was a sacrament. It was how the ancients and our ancestors spoke to a higher being, and also looked after themselves. Also, rules and regulations was very much based off that level of a meditation. So I just started to feel a kindred spirit with St. Vincent, because I knew that St. Vincent, for instance, you know, you got Blue Mountain Coffee in Jamaica, one of the best in the world. Well, St. Vincent, head smokers around the world know St. Vincent's cannabis to be one of the best cannabis brands
Really?
on planet Earth. Yeah, on
That's
planet Earth.
interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And,
a major endorsement there, you know.
Well, it's a massive. I know the Rastafarians know that in St. Vincent, and I know a lot of the connoisseurs in St. Vincent know this because of the volcanic soil. St. Vincent does grow some of the. Their strain is one of the best in the world. There's no denying it.
Yeah.
I believe, and if I told you, I think last time I checked, I think on the black market, the export's about 40 million US.
My dear. Well, listen, I'm not sure. I think we have to blank that out. You know what I mean? But
well, no. I mean,
let me just go back on something here.
Yeah. Okay.
So, in your film career, your major film, you basically played an actor called Rory Breaker,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And as you progressed in your career, you would have contacted the director, Richie, and asked him if you could use the brand Rory Breaker, the name. And he said, yes, go for it.
Go for
and
it.
So you've been developing that particular brand. And what I understand now, on coming to St. Vincent, you basically are teaming up with a company called Medicinal, that's with Kelly Glass and so forth. And you are now looking to develop some other products. One, namely Oral Breaker, or a CBD, high CBD product, and maybe Laura Breaker. I'm not sure if that's the case. That's a THC product, but predominantly the Oral Breaker CBD product. And your idea is that you can transship this product legally to the UK and basically put it on the United Kingdom market. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yeah. So yes, that's correct in the sense. But we're looking at 6 products, which will be the Teacher, the oil, but CBD.
Yes.
CBD. We'll start with CBD, the oil, capsules, the patches, the balm, the gummies, and the vape.
Yes.
And so it's 6 products, and there's two strengths in the capsules. But what it is, you know, this is the thing, because in the UK, you unless it's a dispensary, you can't take flower, the flower cannabis plant.
You can't take the raw dried flower. That can't be shipped. It has to be manufactured product.
Yeah, not the THC. THC, no, not yet.
Yes.
Not yet. And obviously, St. Vincent has to be, you know, their GMP. They have to be regulated. They have to have everything. It has to be ship shape. Otherwise, these dispensaries or whomever you're selling the flower to, when it does get to those stages, they won't accept it in the UK. But we will get there. That's not going to be an issue. But presently speaking, we're dealing with CBD plants, which are being grown by Medicinal. They're just being harvested now, and then they go through an extraction process. And then the extract the oil is sent to us in the UK, to our business partners over here who have all the right licenses to accept the extract. And then it's broken down into those products which I've just mentioned, but CBD. But what makes me so proud about this is the fact that the extract is from St. Vincent. So that makes me feel very proud, and it's given me a lot of I feel as though I'm doing something right for the Caribbean, because there's a bigger picture to this. Because what you'll find is that even recently, what's happening recently with the Caribbean and various different things that's going on, Caribbean and Latin America, you know, we're kind of like not being stifled, but our voices need to be heard, and what we have as far as what comes from our soil, wonderful products, and I'm dealing now with cannabis. It's only a matter of time until the world starts to, they want it, they yearn for it. They'll say, I don't want that one from there. I want that one from SVG. I want that one from Jamaica. I want that one from Barbados, this, that, and the other. So there's a bigger picture to all of this. So in me flying the flag for SVG, it's as if I can just see coming down not too far from now, heightening the level of employment, people realizing that they can go back to the land and they can set themselves up in business and basically start earning a good living from something which was there from time immemorial, really, cannabis. So I see it as a new dawn. It's a new dawn, and all the powers that be should understand that, it's time to pull up their socks, engage in positive conversation with people that are serious in the cannabis business, like Medicinal and myself, and we go forward. Because I'm not just talking about the UK, which has a near population of 75 million. We're talking about Europe. On a cold night in the UK, or in Europe, Germany, Amsterdam, these places, even though they have their cannabis, if you pitch it right, to see something which is grown in the sun and it's warm and it's like, consumers want these things. And so that's what just providing a service. It's like the basic, simple economics, the basic rules of economics, supply and demand. And cannabis grade in St. Vincent is so good that it's yearning to cure people in Europe and in the UK. I won't talk about America yet, but we'll be getting there soon. But the laws and restrictions are slightly different over there.
Well, let me just get this clear. You had said that in the background, people have known about products from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, SVG. But in terms of this new link that you're establishing between Worry Breaker and Medicinal, you're looking to bring St. Vincent more into the international spotlight. Absolutely. And from the standpoint, you're starting off with the UK. I know Brexit, England is no longer in Europe. I don't know if they're going back there and so forth. But in terms of the prospects of even going beyond the UK and getting into Europe, first of all, what are the challenges, the difficulties of getting products into the UK? Is this something you're going to face difficulty with?
Not with CBD, no, not at all. It's very straightforward. It comes under the food licensing agreements, so food licensing is regulation. So CBD, no, not at all. But as we all know, CBD, as far as wellness is concerned and curing you is concerned, it's like there's none better. And especially if you're getting CBD from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which grows some of the best cannabis plants, CBD cannabis plants, or whether they're THC or CBD cannabis plants on planet Earth. So it's a really high quality strain.
And you actually left Beckway, Beckway's part of St. Vincent. You came to mainland St. Vincent and you did a tour. You saw everything yourself, did you?
Yeah, I visit St. Vincent quite a lot. Yeah, I'm there, man, a lot. Yeah. You have a home. You have a home in Beckway, is that right? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. And I want to get a home I'll be getting a home in St. Vincent as well.
Okay.
Yeah, listen, this is all about, I'm thinking about the youngsters growing up that want to take themselves seriously, because this is it's a natural resource. Mm-hmm. So You know, and my plan is to leave something positive, leave a positive legacy, not just for myself, but for the young people that are growing. And it's not just the interesting thing about the whole business of cannabis is that it starts from the ground up, right from, say, manual workers, blue collar workers, right up to white collar accountants, lawyers, scientists, doctors. It's a broad spectrum. So, and the cannabis industry, interestingly enough, it's so full of collaborations at the moment. So you literally can step in, a young scholar from, and you know, you don't get much brighter than children coming out of school from the Caribbean. Children in the Caribbean are some of the most brightest children on the planet, and the options there for them in the world industry of cannabis is absolutely amazing. There's a friend of mine in the UK who has a recruitment. He's you know, there's so many people that have gone, they've been working in the city, like banking district, and then in law and this, that are leaving those industries and going into cannabis in the UK because they know what's coming and they're setting themselves up. So I know a young guy, he's in his 20s and he set up a recruitment company. So you go to him if you want work in the cannabis field.
Really?
And yeah, the guy's just like, it's unbelievable what he's doing right now.
Let me now, Vas, this is also an interactive program. We usually open up our lines, and everyone, I invite you to call now, 457-9997, either WhatsApp or direct. Certainly love to have your calls and your contribution to the program. Sometimes people just sit back and listen, you know. But I'd certainly love to have a few questions to Vas to even though he's an accomplished professional actor, we gotta grill him a little more. You know, we gotta put him on the grill and barbecue him a little bit. You know what I mean? And we want to find out a little bit more. You know, some persons would say, I'd be remiss to not say, well, what about the downside? You've mentioned the illegal trade and the black market, and you've mentioned, you know, a number of people frown on top of that. And I'm part of the regulatory process, and we have to frown on that aspect. But in terms of youth, very young persons using it, they've said some persons can trip off, and some people can have a mental illness, and they should not be promoted to kids and so forth. But clearly, here in St. Vincent, you know, half the persons who use Midden are female. And the age group that's using it are actually like the 29 to 40. That's the highest percentage of users. And many of the elderly persons are using creams on their elbows for their arthritis and so on. So what do you say about this kind of dichotomy with the youth and so forth? And you were once youth, and persons who need it and can benefit from it. How do you really market this particular product in a proper, safe way to people?
Well, okay, so this is a very interesting question, and I'm going to come. Let me tell you. I'll discuss this firstly. What I'm thinking, how I think, and how I see it, and I'm not going to no holds barred as such. So let's just say now, you know, what young people do. Let's just say what young people do. All parents. There's many parents listening to this interview. And, you know, you worry about your child, whether your child is out there getting drunk, whether your child's out there getting high, whether your child's out there with a girlfriend, all of this, the rubbish, with a boyfriend, whatever, driving too fast. Okay, so I would say that school education with cannabis educating scholars and teachers, curriculums with cannabis is very important, you know. Because we're on an island here in St. Vincent, where it's going to, in the next 5-10 years, the economy is going to run parallel with tourism, right? I can see this happen. It's not an issue. It will happen, right? So you're looking at the young people coming out of school now, and look, I was talking about recruitment. There's many forms of when you work in cannabis, you don't necessarily are smoking cannabis. It's not criteria. You work within the realm of cannabis. It's a very big business. If you're an accountant and you're accounting for a company which you've set up, or it's been companies that are set up, like independent companies that are set up when it comes to cannabis growing, you work as an accountant, but you're an advocate for marijuana. Obviously, you don't turn your nose up to it as such. But with young people, because of their brain development, it should be understood that it should not take over your brain development. No. Let's talk about Rastafari and Rastafarianism. Why I say this is because the Rastaman has been downtrodden, insulted, disrespected, never respected. And it's only now, slowly but surely, people are beginning to hold their tongues and mind what they say. Because there's a saying, everywhere Rastafari go, the white boy follow I. And vegan, even in the diet, what you eat, veganism, ITAL food, this, that, and the other, the world, it's as if Rasta came
now
first.
the thing. It's now the thing. Yes.
Well, it's always been the thing.
Yes, for Rastafari, but now the thing for other general population.
Yeah. And what the Rastafarian was doing many years ago, and police and government system would burn down those fields, or some children, their children would go into school, and their children, they in Jamaica sometimes they trim them. It's a custom, not necessarily a religion. It's a custom, and it's something that's been. I take strength from Rastafarianism and Rastafari. I do take a lot of strength for it because it's guiding me in doing what I'm doing. Even though I'm a ballhead, in my heart I'm a Rasta. So what Rastafari was saying many, many years ago, just from its inception as such, we're now in a world, we're now in a time where, we have to kind of like listen a little bit to what they're saying. For instance, when they blaze the chalice, that's for world peace. That's not just to get high and fall off a stool and talk rubbish. That's for world peace. Everything they do is for world peace. Everything stems around love. If a lot of those leaders sat around and they blazed the chalice, the likes of Trump and everybody else, I'm not taking this political, the things that they'd start talking about and who needs help would be incredible. Mm-hmm. So let's just say we're on the right track. Youngsters now, young people, it's an education. They have to be educated. Because you'll get the kids on the street, you see them smoking, trousers hanging off low, and their mindset is the whole gangster lean, the gangster bit and smoke and all that. But that's not it. That's something that's been, it's more of an Americanism in actual fact. And even in the UK, we have it, the rap, the image, the look, the girls, the fast cars, this, that, and the other. Cannabis has been mistaken. It's been categorized in all the wrong areas when it's not there for it's not a crutch, it's not a macho thing. It's more to do with your wellness, spirituality, and oh my gosh, smoking is the least. So many different things. It can be made fabric, bricks, it can do so many different things, hemp.
Let me hold you up. Is it we lost it? We have a caller. Let's hear the first caller and so forth. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, good evening.
I'm not discussing marijuana. The gentleman is talking about Lenny Henry. Is he still around?
Did you hear that? Vass, he's asking, he said you were discussing Lenny Henry. Is Lenny still around? Sir Lenny Henry.
Yes, he is indeed. Yes, Sir Lenny, yeah. Yes, he is.
Yes. Yeah, he was one of my favorites,
Okay. Oh no, yeah. He's still one of my favorites. He's very much alive, doing his thing. A real he's a Sorry.
Yes, he is. He's still doing his thing, he said.
Yeah, he's still doing his thing greatly. Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Thompson, as you were talking about walking down Hollywood Road and whatnot, my favorite place was Wrigley Market.
Oh, Ridley. He's trying to get back into some things, Ridley Market or Angel Market. Yeah, man,
Chapel Market.
Chapel Market, yes. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mason.
Yes. I was just wondering about Lenny, so
Yes.
I'm pleased to hear that he's still around. And,
Sure. Yeah.
So the gentleman used to be in Lenny's program then, and Lenny's program.
Yes.
Yes. I played Winston in the Delbert Wilkins when he had Brixton.
Winston.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't in Love Thy Neighbor.
No. That was a bit before my time. But funnily enough, Rudolph Walker, he's still around. He's still working. He's on EastEnders. He's on a big soap opera in the UK, BBC. Rudolph Walker.
Yeah, that's nice to know.
Okay.
And then I'll let you get back
Thank you
to the
very much.
program, Mr.
Sure.
Thompson.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to know about Lenny.
Yes, sure.
I'm sorry.
Vas, let's just talk about the future of this partnership and so forth. What do you think it's going to mean from a collaboration point of view for St. Vincent, for the two companies, for the people of England, people of St. Vincent? What can that mean?
Well, it's going to be, momentous in the sense that what Medicinal are doing something which really should be taken very seriously by let's just say by the St. Vincent government. It should be taken very seriously because export-wise, it's a massive economy. It's a huge economy. So you have to get behind what Medicinal are doing. They're growing some of the best cannabis in St. Vincent, which means in the Caribbean, which means in this part of the tropics of the world, your part of the world. So, we did mention the black market, but let's be fair now. We can't be ignorant towards this, that the black market is bigger than the actual legal market. But that will change. But it won't change for the worse. It will change for the better, because the employment levels and how things will get created. Can you imagine in the next 50 years' time, this conversation that we're having will be part of the history of it, because there's going to be some incredible things that's going to be happening with cannabis. So basically, what Kelly's vision and Medicinal's vision, I share that, hence the brand name with CBD, Rory Breaker Medicinal. It's a one name. So we're just basically going to sell CBD grown in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to the UK. And then from there, we'll just step across the way over to Europe, because with the sales agents and everything, it's not difficult. It's all very straightforward. The road is actually being paved. It's there, it's open. The road is open. So it's just a matter of coming with the right requirements, and, you jump those hurdles, which we're doing, and the cannabis arrives, it's put into its product form, and then it's sold. But the greatest thing about this for me, again, is that it's a plant which is being grown in St. Vincent. And I believe that's because there's many different CBDs products in the UK, around the world, but I don't believe they're going to have the same effect as
as many people don't know, there's a lot of synthetic stuff,
That's right.
And
Absolutely right.
They're products that don't have the other ingredients in it, the terpenes and the flavonoids and so forth in it, and it's just pure synthetic CBD. And I'm sure it has its impact. And some persons say it's not as efficient and as impactful as when these other sunbathe products and ingredients are included in the products, you know. So that's very interesting, what you're saying.
Yeah, and you know, there's a love as well at Medicinal. When they grow where they grow their cannabis, how they grow their cannabis, there's a lot of love. And plants are just like humans, you know, if they're looked after properly, they will serve you to the best.
Yes. Now, in terms of the UK itself, what's the movement there? I remember long ago, during the time of Gordon Brown, they had made a move towards doing some legalized. Then they stepped back a bit. Then they went forward. Then they stepped back, and you know, things have moved rather slowly in the United Kingdom. There have been some young boys who had medical problems, seizures, and so forth, and that's driven the market, but it hasn't really gone that far. Are you apprehensive, or are you encouraged by what is happening in the UK, or do you see more?
110% encouraged. 110% encouraged. It's like it's a little bit of bureaucracy here and there. For instance, CBD is prevalent on shop shelves. You know, it's everywhere. You can get the product there. But again, you know, it's like you can get different cigarettes, but it's some people, we're selling CBD from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is very appealing to the UK public because of the grey skies and the doom and the gloom, you know, and they know that it's coming from St. Vincent. They're going to go for it. That's not an issue. But and then as far as the real cannabis with THC is concerned, there are dispensaries in the UK, so medical dispensaries. So you have to jump the hoops, very similar to how you do in how you process people in St. Vincent and around the Caribbean. And it's mainly done online. So you know, you speak to the online doctors and whatever ailments you have, and then if you pass, say, their regulations, then you can start prescribing, and you then get THC, different strains according to what you want, you know, from say whatever percentage of THC, 10% up to whatever, like 35 or whatever it is the strength, in sort of balanced with CBD. All what you want, you can take your pick, and then there are these dispensaries and medical dispensaries. But at this point in time, that's not on offer for Medicinal yet, but it will be. It will be, because it is my dream, not just my dream, it is my ambition to start exporting Medicinal's THC flower into the UK. You know, that's just a given. I'm going to do that. But at presently speaking, if I have to set up a contract with some of these dispensaries or whatever the case may be, we'll have to do it. But once again, in St. Vincent, we have to be ready for that, because there's GMPs, there's different things that you have to have right.
The various standards and so forth.
Yeah, there's standards. So that's something that we're going to have to do, which we will do, because we rise to the occasion. Medicinal in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Kelly's business, they always rise to the occasion. So when we come to that point in time, we will deal with that, and it's a natural progression. But for now, it's just the CBD, which is that we're fine for it. Yeah, doors are open.
Yes. From your own, from an educational standpoint, I don't know if you've heard of Cannabis. When you were here in Beckwith, I don't know when you were here. When exactly were you here?
I know about the festival. Yeah.
Well, listen, I want to on radio today throw out a very personal invitation. Maybe for Cannabis 2026, we would love to have you down as one of our feature speakers, because I think that the celebrity and so forth, you know, of your background can help in terms of educating persons, not only when you were talking about in terms of the youth and being educating them, but in terms of patients, the elderly, a lot of people who may be sick. You know, I'm amazed at the amount of persons who suffer from anxiety and sleep disorders and so forth, who really, I'm a medical doctor. I prescribed, I could say I recommended cannabis during the time of the height of the AIDS epidemic, when patients were losing weight and the cannabis was helping people to put back on weight. But in terms of today, there's so many other reasons why, but it's a good thing that doctors are able to prescribe online, just like they did in COVID, and that persons don't have to go through a lot of the stress in terms of getting something that they found that is beneficial to them. I don't know how you see this and that need for public education, and whether, in terms of cannabis, you might find a few hours of your time to be here in St. Vincent, or we can do it remotely and so forth, but we'd certainly love to have you. I'm throwing out the invitation to you.
Yes, definitely. No, I will definitely come to the cannabis event, because I wanted to come to the last one, but due to work and business, I couldn't be there. But no, I've heard some, and I've read, and I was online watching what was going on, and it's extraordinary. And I know, you mentioned it. You mentioned it at the beginning of the interview, and I believe, I can sense it. It's going to be huge this year. It's going to be absolutely huge. And one thing that did impress me about cannabis was the whole educational aspect of it.
Yes.
You really are taking that very seriously, and I think that's wonderful. And again, if we can get some kind of link with Europe or London when it comes to the festival, we can then feature what's going on and show the UK audience, because they'll be very interested in that, because I really did rate your the educational. You take that event very seriously, and I think that's wonderful. You have got something there. It's going to be as the years go on, it's just going to grow from strength to strength to strength. So be proud of yourself, St. Vincent.
Yes.
With the
well. No, I think we got to be very proud of you. I mean, yes, we're in the last couple of minutes of the program.
Yes, sir.
And I want to get another impression from you of what has been what has been your impression of St. Vincent the Grenadines, the product here, and whether it stands up to the market, whether it is a product, whether we have products that make St. Vincent a player, and whether or not this kind of association can take St. Vincent further onto the international stage. Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, I 100%. That's why I'm sitting here now. It's St. Vincent has some of the best cannabis in the world. None better. And what we should not do at this stage is, let them people come and they take seeds and everything and take them back to these synthetic places and grow strains and call it St. Vincent cannabis. That's not St. Vincent cannabis. We keep it there in St. Vincent, nurture it, grow it, get themselves regulated. Lock horns. There's a couple of business initiatives which I'm going to discuss with Kelly over the next few months, which pertain the Caribbean in cannabis, and kind of like how we have CARICOM in that sense, because I believe, and Latin America, who are under CARICOM, because I believe there is strength in unity, a lot of strength, and it's there for everybody because it grows so organically, in love, in harmony with the weather. So we should all come together, hold hands within business, and send it out to the world, because and St. Vincent will be at the forefront because its grade of cannabis is probably one of the best grades of cannabis, and I really do mean this, and I want St. Vincent's to hear this. It's probably one of the best grades of cannabis in the world, like Blue Mountain Coffee in Jamaica. Jamaican Sensimania is one of the best strains in the world as well. And St. Vincent is one of the best strains in the world. If it's in the Premier League in soccer, we'd be in St. Vincent. Would be in
Manchester
the top
United,
five.
Manchester United or Arsenal, which one?
St. Vincent will be Arsenal.
Yeah. Well, listen,
But you're Arsenal. You're Arsenal, aren't you, Gerald?
tell you
You're
something.
Man United.
I live 200 yards from the Arsenal football stadium, the old Arsenal. I've been a lifelong Man United fan.
And I was going to bring you an Arsenal shirt when I came
Yes,
over.
yes. Anyway, I'm not sure I can, as a regular, I'm able to accept things and so forth and to get us from business. But anyway, listen, I want to thank you very much. That's a major endorsement and so forth. And I'm hoping that I'm sure we will see you here in St. Vincent over a period of time, and certainly at Cannabis, and really looking forward to this international push, the thing that St. Vincent has been looking for. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time. I'm getting lots of feedback on my own phone. But listen, do have a wonderful evening. And I'm telling you, in England, it's 1 o'clock in the morning there. So you really stayed up late. Thank you very much for putting aside that time.
And I just want to
all the very best.
Yeah, and send my love to everybody in St. Vincent, and I'll see you all soon. And remember, stay positive, and remember, stay in love, promote love, because love will conquer everything. Okay, keep that in your heart and keep a smile. Greet everyone with a smile. Be happy.
Yes. Okay.
Take care. God bless you. Take care, Gerald. Bye-bye.
People's Pharmacy, for all your pharmaceutical, skin and body care needs. Located on Grenville